Talk about it all here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
You know, one thing about Jaden that I've tried to talk to him about is tightening his chin strap. Because he doesn't tighten it, so every time he gets hit, it looks like his helmet's all messed up. And it's like, oh, God, he just got rocked.
For the win! Caught! It's good! LSU does it!
After fucking Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, boys. Are you kidding me?
Well, LSU fan came stuck his spike in my booty.
That motherfucker hard!
Fan brought his 2 grandkids by and literally was just 30 seconds, just wanted to say thank you for the team and the season and what you did and how much it means to everybody here is truly what makes LSU special.
Yeah. Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. It's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, and I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! All right! Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. All right, welcome in and good morning here on this Monday. Christian is here. Lloyd is here. Christian was gonna do the open this morning, but
Tomorrow.
he said welcome in. Fell into this little chuckle, this little giggle.
He started off like, what's an open? So still things to learn.
Yep.
It took me a minute.
It's all right. It's all right. It's
Tomorrow,
all right.
let me mentally prepare.
Yes.
Yeah, just like that letter you're supposed to write.
I wrote it.
And
Oh, I need to
at the
write it
same
again.
time.
That's right.
Pretty,
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Erasable pen. Disappearing ink.
No, Hogwarts is real.
Well, good morning and welcome in here on a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, built and brought to you by RMB Builders every single day. Rhett and his crew. Check them out on Instagram. They do great content there, but they do great work. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Every single day they bring you the Jordy Culotta Show. The phone line is always brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center. Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and their team. Check them out on Facebook. They've got their new office. And then, obviously, every single day, we are a part of the G Squad. Get Gordon, get it done, as Christian throws on the hat as weakly as he can.
Oh, dude, a little less.
Yep, dropping it right on top. You need some grass?
Need a shower.
Give us a good clap. Give us a good clap. A little less clap. There it is. There it is. That's Leslie. But brought to you by Gordon McKernan, big truck lawyer here in Louisiana, the NIL king as well, not just LSU. He's got NIL deals with athletes at all the state universities. Get Gordon, get it done. GetGordon.com, 888-8888. That's the phone number. Good weekend for LSU as gymnastics with a huge win Friday night against Oklahoma. PMAC was popping. It looked awesome in there. And then LSU baseball over the weekend with a sweep over Purdue Fort Wayne. A whole lot to talk about there because how about that start? And then LSU men's basketball gets a win over Oklahoma on Saturday. LSU women's basketball does not and falls yesterday against Texas. We did a live stream watch party in here, just me and Lloyd. Christian didn't show. He was doing he was watching a play at LSU for class. But we did a little watch party yesterday. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, we are live on both the New Orleans Football Network and the Jordy Culotta Show YouTube channel. We will be making a transition back to the Jordy Culotta Show channel for the daily show from 7 to 9 every morning, live starting in March. So right now, we're making it easy on you guys. We're going to be live on both channels to get the transition flowing. But once March comes around, we will be live only on the Jordy Culotta Show YouTube channel. So make sure if you're here right now, go over there, subscribe, hit the bell, shift over there and just watch it there. That's where we will originate starting in March. And the additional content like clips and things like that will live on NewOrleans.football. But starting in March, anytime we're live, whether it's 7 to 9 or anything additional, that will be on the Jordy Culotta Show channel. So make sure you're prepared for that change. We're trying to make it easy on you right now by being up on both channels. So if you want to be in both chats, you can. If you want to be in just one, that's fine as well. But we're live on both of those channels this morning. But what a weekend.
Well, before, I've heard a couple rumblings. It's not a breakup, it's a makeup. That is what we are doing over with New Orleans Football. We've done some evaluations of how this thing should operate. And, this is probably for the better for everybody. If we want to make a little money, we'll do it this way. And we have been working hand in hand with Nick Underhill on how to establish what we're going to do business-wise. So he's not ditching us.
No, the partnership is still very much...
He's actually giving us good advice.
Yes. The partnership is still very much intact, and in my eyes, it is almost better. There are a lot of things that are improved partnership-wise between us and New Orleans.football, and this is a step in the right direction. This is not a breakup. This is not an ending of the partnership. This is really just the beginning, fixing some mistakes that were made in the origination of this partnership and getting it righted now, and then to see where the future takes us. So no worries.
And if we're wrong, we'll redo it again.
Yep. That's just how it works. But we appreciate you guys being here on whichever channel you're on. It's fine either way. But what a weekend. Christian, how did you enjoy the sport weekend for LSU this weekend?
I liked watching the baseball. I couldn't make the games because I had to go home. But this weekend I'll be at the games. And
Tuesday.
What?
Tuesday.
The game Tuesday? Who do they play Tuesday?
They play Tuesday and Wednesday.
I forget they do the midweek games.
They
I'll
do
be at the midweek game.
2 midweek games this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think they play
Southern.
No, let's not play Southern.
Well, you still a little scarred?
Oh yeah, that was.
They lost.
It was brutal. They play Southern on Tuesday, at Nichols on Wednesday, so they'll be at home.
Okay.
Tuesday night against the Southern Jags.
I can make the Tuesday game.
They're heading to Thibodeau on Wednesday to take on Nichols before Omaha comes into town this weekend.
Omaha.
So good weekend for LSU
Derrick
baseball.
Rose would never,
obviously,
go to Thibodeau.
Never. Tibbs. The Knicks love Tibbs. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart do a podcast.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah, until they.
It's a tale as old as time.
It's crazy when you look at minutes, who has the highest minutes in the league or whatever. It's always somebody that's on Tom Thibodeau's team. I think Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges are all top three. Are the top three in minutes.
We're playing basketball, boys.
That's how it goes.
Kawhi would never.
No, never. Absolutely never.
Zion would never.
Any team that Zion or Kawhi is on will never be coached by Tibbs because that is a minutes nightmare both ways. But good weekend for baseball. Good-ish weekend for basketball as one team finally gets a win and one team drops a ranked loss yesterday. We watched that one live, and we closed out the baseball game live yesterday. We got to see the fun part of the Sunday game live on the Jordy Culotta Show channel as the offense was slow to start on Sunday, busted it wide open in the 4th inning, and then it was smooth sailing from there. Lloyd, this weekend, LSU baseball-wise, how did you feel about this team?
Look, I understand who LSU played.
Right.
I understand all of that. LSU has also opened up against teams like this pretty much every year that I've ever watched.
Yes.
That was as dominant of a performance as you get from a pitching staff and offensively that you could ever see. I do think that Jay made a statement on Friday with how they played offense. Like, you saw almost a changing of the guard,
right,
as to, like, how aggressive can you be on the base pass. So it was like a shock to the system. It's like, oh, I know that there were talks of, like, this team's going to look a little different. They're going to run a little bit more. He was pedal to the metal and put pressure on you offensively all throughout the day on Friday, and almost to it was almost over aggressive.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see and see, like, okay, they can do that. They can do it this way. And then you flex your muscle again on Saturday. It's like, oh, you think we can only run? Here comes the wind's blowing out. The boys got some bop in the bat. And so it was just impressive to see the offense be able to do both and win multiple ways, and all of that is still second fiddle to what you saw from your starting pitching. Whether it was Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, or Chase Shores, that was elite baseball that you saw, and that everybody should feel very good about where LSU sits. I know it's up for Purdue-Fort Wayne, but you dominated. I mean, you don't have to go back very far to see LSU play VMI last year,
right?
And an opening day on Friday, and it was a struggle.
It was not domination,
and this was dominant.
Yeah, no, and as much as we talk about the starting pitching, I mean the pitching in relief as well, where you saw guys come in and just not give up, not let Purdue-Fort Wayne breathe. Whether it's Kason Evans, William Schmidt, DJ just go down the list of names. Maverick Rizzi, that's 6'9". 100 across the plate will play, Coach.
That's what the other part of it was. Like, they've got arms everywhere.
Yes.
Like, and they're not, like, I guess they're not like some of the typical LSU arms that you've seen before, where it's like you got a couple of guys that can bump in the 90s.
Right,
You've got everybody can throw 95 plus. Like, there's no Chris Cotton on this team. Shout out Chris Cotton, but there's nobody coming in throwing lefty 85. Like, I think those all belong at Purdue-Fort Wayne.
Yeah, and you saw it. I mean, they had their starting pitcher on Saturday. Really, and I've told this story.
I don't know if he threw a fastball.
Huh?
I don't know if he did throw a fastball.
Right. I mean, he throws his first pitch, and the guys on the call for the game are like, even Ben McDonald's just kind of like,
fastball?
I
think that's a fastball, yeah.
And then they go, yeah, that's his fastball, 84 miles per hour. And I was like, oh, my gosh.
Oh.
Like, you're seeing that, and then you have Cade Anderson touching 100 on the other side. It was just, obviously the level of competition wasn't the highest. And obviously, yes, George Ray, women's softball with big ranked win this weekend as I think they kind of dominated Virginia Tech and just a good-looking weekend for LSU as a whole outside of the women's basketball loss. But LSU baseball was the story of the weekend. They win 14-0 on Friday, 10-1 Saturday, 8-1 Sunday. So that's 32-2 total points, total runs. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm thinking basketball.
No bump and run.
Yep. 32-2 total runs on the weekend.
And just to kind of put in perspective what the pitching did, Purdue-Fort Wayne's not good. We know that. But earned runs allowed 2, strikeouts 45 by the entire pitching staff throughout the weekend. 45 strikeouts is the most in a 3-game set LSU has ever put up since they started doing records in 1992 when I was born.
Right.
So that's a pretty impressive outing. Velocity. 10 guys LSU had that hit 95 or over on the radar gun.
Wow. Out of how many guys pitched?
10.
Yeah.
Everybody, I would imagine everybody did.
I mean,
I might be wrong, but I would be hard pressed to think so.
I'll do some counting.
2 batters walked in 27 innings. Like, you were as efficient as you can be from a pitching perspective, because if you were to drop a game against a Purdue-Fort Wayne or Southern like you did last year, it's because you put people on base for free. That is not
Right.
what you saw from LSU, at least over this weekend. I know, baseball, small sample size, and it has to be extrapolated over the 56 game season, hopefully 70 game season. But
10 of 12.
who are the other two? They're getting
Primo didn't hit.
well, he's getting worn out.
Fast, and he's
Getting worn out in the locker room. I'm just saying.
right.
I passed.
I'm trying to think of who else didn't, but yeah, it was 10 of 12.
It certainly wasn't William Schmidt because
No.
he was topping out at 97.
It wasn't Schmidt. It wasn't Kason Evans.
99.
It wasn't Maverick Rizzi, Chase Shores, Anthony Ianson, Kate Anderson. I mean, they were just shoving. But yeah, I mean, though you heard the numbers from Lloyd. That's impressive, regardless of who the opponent is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
No.
You're not pitching
Well, even we were watching it yesterday on the stream, and Fontenot got in and he threw that off speed to strike the guy out, and we were like, Coach, that it doesn't matter who is in the box. That is going to play against anybody, and that's to be said for a lot of the pitches that were thrown by all the pitchers over the weekend. But stuff like that is going to play regardless of who the opponent is.
Yeah, it's hard to almost see who is going to continue to make, whenever it becomes nut cutting time for LSU baseball, who you're going to put in, because you didn't see Gavin Guidry, you didn't see Connor Ware, who everybody was talking about throughout the offseason. You didn't have to use them, and so you'll probably see them in the midweek and see if you want to extend Gavin Guidry because you got multiple starts, and I guess you would call it the intra-squad games where he was trying to kind of see how stretched you could go, how many innings he could go. I guess is a better way to put it. I didn't want to say how stretched out he could get because it's a different conversation that he probably wouldn't appreciate. Nor is there any truth to it, I would imagine.
Well,
we'll find out live. And then the same thing for Connor Ware. I think there could be an opportunity for him to get a start with the way the midweek is set up, where you have two games and get these guys some work. So I think that was all by design. And you didn't need him, and thank God you didn't.
Yeah,
because that would be a different conversation entirely.
Yes, and obviously I think a lot of people were expecting old Willie Schmidt to get
he was so good
a midweek start, and Jay just kind of shuts that down, lets him get out on Sunday, none of that pressure added on, and he looked comfortable. It was a smooth delivery. I mean, that fastball just rides on through, and they couldn't touch it. But yeah, I mean, Jay said in his presser yesterday, I think, he said that they didn't pitch Guidry, Cowan, Ware. He was like, we didn't pitch any of them. We had this type of weekend, and all of those three guys are going to pitch 50-plus innings.
I'm telling you, I don't want to overreact, but I'm overreacting.
And it's hard not to because of the way, it looked this weekend, seeing it. Because when you can go read the stats and say, well, yeah, they did against Purdue Fort Wayne. That's how it's supposed to work, blah, blah, blah. But when you sit there and you turn the game on, whether you're watching it on ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus, or our friend down the street, wherever you're watching the game, if you turn on and look at it, you see that, okay, that fastball is going to work against anybody. He's locating it where he wants. He that curveball, that off speed is going to get, Kate Anderson's slider. Oh, come on.
Not only Kate Anderson's slide, him adding that pitch, you could see the difference that it made in his pitch ability. But I watched him live. I went to the game Friday, and me and Mikey, who have been going back and forth about this discussion of adding the third pitch versus him pitching ahead with his fastball. And that fastball plays from a left-handed. If he gets ahead in the count, it changes how everybody kind of faces him in the dynamic, because we talked about it with Milazzo also, who caught him. And he was look, he has the big bender, just added the slider kind of at the end of the year, and that's when he started to get more looks. But he's that makes him so much more effective because he's able to have, Jay uses this term all the time, but pitchability. It means you can throw a pitch in any count. Yes. And Kate Anderson, there's a reason he's the Friday guy. Yeah. And they saw that throughout the entire offseason into this year at the inter squads, all of it. And you feel very good about how you feel when you have Kate Anderson going Friday and then Shores back you up on a Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
It's disgusting.
It is filthy. It's just sitting there and thinking about it and then watching it this weekend. You thought Chase Shores was going to be the Friday night guy, and he's closing it out on Sunday. And it's not like you have a slouch on Saturday.
No.
Einstein is a pro. And so it was a great weekend for LSU baseball. You got to see a lot of guys get in the mix. That's my favorite part about opening up against a team that's not really on your level. If you're LSU,
and if
you
you're
get to see,
if you're concerned about Einstein or Einstein, however you want to pronounce it,
right?
I've heard both. He's been kind of battling a bug, as Jay reported, like he did. Don't fret because he was kind of. I mean, he still pitched fine.
Yeah,
but he was like this. He's not 100%.
He was putting bats on balls.
And Jay said he's also sick.
Okay.
But he would never. He couldn't tell.
Right. But to me, and kind of what I was saying was, the reason I like lining up opening weekend like this is because you get to see everybody. You got to get guys mixed in in the infield. You got to see the outfield get mixed up. You got to see different guys at the plate. Obviously, different guys behind the plate catching. You got to kind of get your look at everybody. And I thought it was really good to see other guys that could be difference makers for LSU. I mean, you saw Big John Pearson get in the mix, and first AB gets a stand-up double. The little big brother.
He can roll, buddy.
Or the big little brother.
Yeah.
Of outfielder Josh Pearson, who also had a good weekend. You got to see a lot of guys get mixed around in different spots, and I thought it was good for LSU. And really just all in all a great weekend for baseball.
It was, and if you're of the impression that you don't want to look too much into LSU being able to sweep, and it's something that you should have done, Texas A&M 3-0, a 4-2 win over Elon, 16-6 win, and 12-6 win. So they had a nut cutter. Virginia, the number 2 ranked team in the country according to D1 Baseball, lost to Michigan 5-4, beat Villanova 3-1, and beat Rice 7-0. LSU 3-0 against Fort Wayne with a 14-0 win, a 10-1 win, and an 8-1 win. And as you go through the rest of the top 10, Georgia beats Quinnipiac 9-1, 7-4, and loses to UNC Wilmington 6-2. So it's not always that. It's not supposed to be that easy. And LSU made it look very easy.
Right.
There's teams that played other like the same kind of competition and weren't able to escape the weekend undefeated.
Right. So I mean, this is a good weekend for LSU. And
Vanderbilt lost to Nebraska.
I saw that. It's funny how the storyline is different for baseball versus football, because football is scheduling Power 4 games against powers, season opener wise every single season, and fans are ready for it to be over with. But baseball, you're scheduling the gimmies to get the team in a rhythm.
Better not lose.
And why are we play a real matchup? Like, come on. When's the last time LSU won a football national championship? Lloyd, what year was that?
2019.
Who did they play week number 1 of 2019?
Georgia
Southern.
And you saw an offense that made my brother weep. Because it was as efficient as you could ever get down the field.
Right.
Except that looked like this isn't the same. This isn't LSU.
Right, and then the storyline was, it's just Georgia Southern, blah, blah, and then they turn around, they do it against Texas week 2, and what's happened since that season opener for LSU football?
Over 4.
Haven't
over
won
3.
Haven't 4, I think.
2019. Florida State.
Mississippi State.
I was just doing the BK era.
No, yeah.
Over 3. I don't want to say over 4 because I don't want that to happen.
Right. So it was it's funny to me how the vibes are different between the two, because I like that LSU baseball starts it like this, gets everybody a look. I mean, you got to think about Ashton Larson didn't play, wasn't in the lineup game 1 and 2 to start, and then game 3 gets in there. He has a 3-run bomb and then a 2-run RBI.
He drove in 7 runs and he started one of the games.
Yep. And that's what's good about a weekend like this, is because everyone's getting in the mix. You're getting to test different guys out at different spots. Curiel gets the start. All 3 looked excellent. Stanfield gets to go and he looks great. But then you got to mix everybody in the next time around.
Jake Brown, Josh Pearson, Ethan Fry, Tanner Reeves, Kate Arambidi, Curiel. You had people. Obviously, it was a great debut for Daniel Dickinson in his first time playing as a Tiger, and there's a take out there. There's a take to be had, but I'll wait to see what happens. But that's competition he's used to seeing, and he raked. So for him to be able to play the same level of ball that he's used to, and then kind of compete and not have the moment too big. And he's the first one to hit a home run for LSU to like lead off. No home runs Friday. Saturday, he's the first one to hit a bomb. Yep. And so to see him be able to kind of do both, where he's also able to steal bags. You saw Luis Hernandez steal bags.
I mean,
like that's
you
crazy.
Saw Bear steal a bag yesterday.
Called that.
Yeah, Lloyd saw it coming. He was like, he's going to go.
He was leaning. I was like, no way he's about to take it. I was like, Jay's making such a statement on a Sunday.
And
then
like,
he
snagged
hey, Bear, you
base.
see a dirt ball, take off.
And he took second base.
It was awesome. Like that's the type of baseball they're going to play throughout the year. I think that's pretty evident. I don't think that was that wasn't a Fort Wayne issue.
No.
That was we want to play like this for 56 in the regular season.
Right.
Like this is what they're going to look like because that's just the talent they have.
No, 100%.
And like Jake Brown can roll, Curiel can roll, Stanfield can roll.
Yeah, I mean
Broswell can't roll.
That Stanfield grounder to short that he runs out, buddy.
It doesn't happen in college baseball.
Like it was he moved so fast that in real time, it looked like he beat it by a mile, and then it looks closer in slow motion.
Yeah,
because of how fast he was moving. It looked closer in slow motion than it did in real time.
Yeah, I mean, and this is against call Fort Wayne what they are, but their catcher had an absolute rocket.
But the one he threw Curiel out on.
And it was a great pick. It was a quick little short hop, but
on Saturday
he knew that they were trying to run, and he has an absolute hose.
Yeah, I wish you could do in-season transfers because I'd be like, let's just add him to the roster.
Maybe. Aaron Beatty, mate. I'm sure he would like that competition.
Yeah, no, of course. But, I mean, the one I just remember, I mean, watching live, Curiel goes to steal second.
Oh, gets a great jump.
Gets a great jump. And, I mean, the catcher just pops up, rips one to the shortstop who's covering the bag, and doesn't even have to move the glove. Like, the ball's here in the glove, bang, bang, out. I was like, oh, wow. But it was good to see them win in multiple ways this weekend. Where on, obviously, Friday, no home runs, stealing bags, just ripping baseballs. And then Saturday, you see Dickinson go yard, Curiel and Bear Jones back-to-back, no doubters. But all in all, the thing that encompassed all three games was dominant pitching. Like Jay was, in his press conference yesterday, was talking about, it was kind of the slow start LSU got to where they were losing 1-0 through the first 3 innings, and he kind of broke down, well, you see, you have the Stanfield gets thrown out, that you're not able to kind of break through there. You hit into a double play at one point, so then you still, you weren't able to break through there. So he was like, so it wasn't that they were playing bad. It was giving the offense time to get comfortable. He was like, the reason that the offense has time to get comfortable is because, after the little trick play Purdue-Fort Wayne had in the first inning to get that run across, the pitching was just dominant. And so that's the good thing about this LSU team is they can beat you in so many ways offensively, but they kind of have time to figure it out because the pitching is dominant. Like just that's the word for this to describe what we saw this weekend was just absolutely dominant. Like
12 guys pitched, they averaged 94 miles an hour off the bump.
I mean, it was just
it's not your mother's LSU.
Well, and then you look at Friday, and to me the back-to-back of from Anderson to Evans, I was just like, this is a hitter's nightmare. Like you would think they were going to take a collective deep breath that Kate Anderson's getting off the bump. And
that's the job of any baseball team is to get the starter out.
Yes.
Like if you feel like you could do that, then you feel like you've kind of gotten to win, especially in I guess I'll say a real series, but to have somebody like Evans come in and throw 99, and then did you hear the way that Jay talked about him?
Yeah,
he's like, this is the biggest one of the biggest recruiting battles I've ever had to win, and you could see that was already paid off because these guys that go back to last year,
right?
Where you look at you have Cam Johnson come in as the number 1 highest ranked player LSU's ever gotten,
right?
And you try to put him out there in multiple situations, and I'm not bagging on him, but I'm just saying the talent was there.
It never clicked.
But you tried multiple ways to put him in the baseball game, and he couldn't figure it out. Case Evans come in and throw 99, and all right, we're good.
Oh, and the way it looked. I mean, he has this
and he was fired up.
This swagger that he had on the mound, where it was just, I'm gonna rip this one past you. You're gonna swing and miss, and you're gonna know about it.
There's
you know?
a little pimp to the limp with LSU baseball. Like they know they're good, and they all kind of are like on the same page.
When it starts with Jay,
like
it starts with it because he knows, and he
was glowing.
We've been talking about that for the last 2 weeks. Where anytime you heard from Jay in a press conference situation, on the interviews with Mikey and Lloyd on Mic'd Up, it was just he is glowing, like grinning from ear to ear. He's talking.
He doesn't like to give a lot away, but he also can't lie.
He can't help it.
Yeah, he's like, we're good.
So, he loves this team so much that it just kind of oozes out of him instead of like it's hard to keep it in.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to lie.
Right.
It's hard to like. Oh, if you want me to talk about it, I'll talk about it. His press conferences they go for a minute because, I mean, if you're used to cutting up like basketball or Brian Kelly, it's very much on like feels like there's like almost like. Get the cane out and pull it off. Like, we're done. There's a hard out. Jay, I'll talk to you for 45 minutes. Y'all want to talk ball. Like, if you ask good questions, I'm here for it.
If you want to talk ball, let's talk ball.
Yeah, so, like, he's not going to be able to really – at some point, you will tell the truth, but he's not one to lie. So, it's you'll get 45 minutes of, like, right now, this is great. If they're not playing well, you'll get 45 minutes of, we got to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And right now, LSU looks great. And just a couple of, like, I guess weekend winners, if you want to. Ashton Larson.
Yes.
Shocked. He didn't get the start, but clearly doesn't bother him.
Yeah.
Not faded. Comes in and balls, and now he's going to make himself he's going to do what he did last year. You put me in, I'm going to play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be too good to ignore, and that's where Ashton Larson, like, he did it in the first weekend, and I don't know if they want to DH him, I don't know if they want him in the outfield, but he will be in the lineup. And I'll put my hat on that one.
Yeah.
Feel good about that take.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think it was such a way to respond. Obviously, him and Jay, I would assume he was one of those 40 individual meetings that Jay had in the 5-hour span.
Might have been 10 of them.
Where it was
buddy, we're good.
Yeah, because it's awesome to see that type of buy-in where it's like, okay, we got a guy that's going to come out and get 5 RBI in one sitting, where he gets a 3-run shot, 2-run double, and
pimp the absolute shit out of it. And he doesn't do that. And like, that's not really his personality.
Right,
but
not
I think
at
it was
all.
a statement.
Yeah,
where he's like, oh, okay, you gonna start me? All right, cool.
And that's the type of response I love. Mm-hmm. Where it's not like, Coach, screw you, you didn't put. Be like, okay, I understand. Here's what I can do. I
do think there is if you're a competitor. There's any part of you, and you did what you did last year for LSU as a freshman. You're at SEC first team,
right?
All conference as a freshman, and on the all freshman team as well. And you look at the opening day line, like I'm not playing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet. Got you.
Wait till I get that start.
But like you said, I'm sure that was definitely something that wasn't a surprise to him.
Yes.
It was a conversation, but still to even have to sure it was surprising. Like,
of
okay,
course.
but you better explain it to me the way that makes sense, or else what are we doing here?
Right.
But obviously, I feel like all of that is housekeeping and everything's in order. But I'm not surprised by the response, I guess is what I'll say.
No, me neither. And it was good to see. So I agree with you because that was impressive yesterday by him. But all in all, this weekend, just an excellent look for LSU. Whether it's the pitching, it's the starting pitching, the pitching in relief, the bats, the defense, just all the way around. It was a good weekend for LSU. They'll turn around and play tomorrow, Southern at home, and they'll have Nichols in Thibodaux on Wednesday. So 2 local matchups in the midweek this week as I set up for Omaha this weekend. It'll be exciting to see what names are the starters for tomorrow night and Wednesday night. Obviously, people, we all expected Schmidt to be one of them. He goes on Sunday, and so looked excellent. But he goes yesterday. That conversation kind of closes down. We'll see who gets the nod tomorrow and Wednesday. That's going to be exciting to see because the starting pitching was just dominant. So to see who else.
I'm trying to think of a way of, obviously we're gleaning positive. I don't really know if there's anything to say.
No, there's nothing. The only knock is the level of competition.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's nothing really. There was not I mean, did they make an error? The only thing they did, they got caught stealing a couple of times, but that was just being a part of that's what they want to do. And
they're
so they're
learning.
Yeah, so they just want people to run, and it's like, I don't care if you get caught. Like, this is how we're going to play. And the only really one that you could look at was somebody said it in the chat because I watched it happen, and I was shocked that, like, okay, they must be trying to do something. But was it Curiel that got caught stealing with Jared Jones had a, 3-0 count, and he was trying to run?
Possibly.
But that was the only one I was like, you shouldn't probably run there.
Right.
But
that's
clearly this is part of it. Like,
right.
Yeah, but that's part of the philosophy, which, like, I don't care who's at, like, we're putting pressure on you.
Yeah, it doesn't
and
matter.
We don't mind getting, because there's so many people in the lineup that can either get on base, hit for power, and then run. That, like, dude, if it's happened once, that's fine.
100%.
Like, we'll be able to keep doing this and roll this thing over again and continue to put pressure on you because that's how they want to play now, and I'm cool with it. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a fun weekend for LSU baseball. They'll keep it going tomorrow night and Wednesday night. So enjoy this, enjoy that because
enjoy this, enjoy that,
enjoy this, enjoy that because women's basketball left a lot to be desired yesterday.
That was tough.
It was. We did a live watch party stream here in the studio watching that game, and man, it was a brutal closing to that matchup where LSU really had an opportunity there after South Carolina loses prior to that game to UConn and a blowout.
Gets
a blowout loss.
Molly-whopped at their home court by 30.
87-58 to UConn, who just loses to Tennessee last week.
After LSU, and then LSU beats Tennessee.
And so you see South Carolina go down like that, you're like, oh, this is a real opportunity to kind of, LSU was a projected 2 seed in the NCAA tournament before the game yesterday, and that was a real opportunity to get into that upper echelon, those top 4 seeds, if you're able to get a win against Texas, who was the number 3 team at the time. But LSU really handled things great. I mean, the first quarter was just full of energy, back and forth, talking trash, flexing, hyping up, just a kind of a messy brand of basketball where they were physical, some fouls that weren't called, things here and there. Just the first quarter was a dogfight. But LSU responds, they weather the storm. They locked in defensively in the second quarter and just kind of shut Texas down. Texas was stuck at 12 points for a minute, and LSU goes on a little run, gets a 22-12 lead before Texas scores, and LSU responds here and there, and they're up by, I think, 9 at half. Texas comes out with a run to start the third quarter. LSU responds, gets back up by double digits, and then from then on, Texas just kind of dominated. I think the fourth quarter, Texas outscored LSU by quite the margin. I think LSU only scored 9 points in the fourth quarter, and that's where a lot of the discussion originated, was in the offense late in the game.
Texas outscored LSU 34-15 after LSU led by 12 with 4:38 left in the game.
In the third quarter?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
And watching it live, we've watched enough of LSU women's basketball to they kind of play with their food. It feels like they get these 12, 15, 18-point leads, and then you look up and you go, I can't really turn it off.
Right.
I feel like LSU, this should be a win.
Yes.
And you look back up, I think Oklahoma game is probably the best example of, I was watching it, it's watching it intently, and then it's okay, they're up 24.
Right.
I'll keep it on.
Yeah.
But I'm not breaking it down anymore. I'm not taking notes on a legal pad. Then get it back out because now it's tied and you're having to make a game winner and you're losing at points. So to be up 12 with 4:38 left, and then you look and
you got to close it out, man. You have to.
But you can see how it happens.
Right. It's they.
It bothers you more than it bothers me because
they made a couple of mistakes here and there. The shot selection to me is one of the biggest question marks around, and I get that that's kind of how they score their points. But there were some times where they were just taking the first shot they could find, And offense and defense are connected. As much as, you can kind of separate them in other sports. In basketball, they are tied together. Like, when shots are falling, it's a whole lot easier to go guard somebody. And that's when you kind of saw LSU lock in the second quarter. Well, when Tennessee really picked up their defense in the fourth and LSU didn't really change their offensive philosophy, they just kept trying to, like, go one-on-one or high ball screen. That was really it. Or get out and run. Texas found easier shots on the other end because they were getting down, they were guarding, and LSU was not able to find any offensive rhythm, which then turns into losing some of the defensive energy. And those things go hand in hand, and LSU needed some buckets down the stretch, and they weren't able to get them. And to me, the biggest question is, why not throw something out there offensively to keep Texas on their toes, instead of just a high ball screen for Michaela, because that was your whole offense at the end of the game.
You saw it at the end of the game.
In the fourth quarter,
threes.
All the points you scored were Michaela Williams' high ball screen score, and I love it. That is your best play. That's your go-to 100%. But when you're up in a game and you need to just run something, like they kept going one-on-one and running ball screens with Poa or Flaugier, and they were doubling it, they were hedging, and you weren't really able to get in a rhythm or get anything going towards the rim. There's got to be something you can throw in there, whether it's just like a flex offense, whether it's just something simple to at least get the defense moving, so the other four players on the court aren't just standing and watching a one-on-one, and the girls for Texas are catching their breath and then running down on offense after you miss the first shot you can find.
There's a lot of conjecture in the chat that I will bring to you, because this is kind of like your arena.
Right.
Brock TV. LSU women's basketball doesn't run any offense. It's all iso ball. Women's basketball lost their chance from Wolfgang Freud at SEC championship at number 1 seed. Both games at Texas and USCE, South Carolina. They choked at the end. Wolfgang again. Noah, it's 3-on-5 or 1-on-1. They don't have a true starting five, so I'll let you tackle all of those at once. But Carl, maybe with the hottest take of all, if this team makes it past the Sweet 16, it would be a miracle. Makes too many mental mistakes and turnovers.
I don't agree with Carl in the making it past the 16 being a miracle. But I do agree on some of the mistakes. They do make some mistakes where, like, I go back to the Flaugier gambling on a pass on the perimeter that turns into free throws for Texas, on kind of when LSU made some separation, and the first play that Texas made to get their run going and get back in the game was Flaugier gambled on a pass on the perimeter. She doesn't get it. They catch. They get past her. She fouls. 2 free throws. They make them both, and they kind of then it turns around. Flaugier's aggravated turnover.
Turns it over.
They go score again, and now it's a completely different ball game. It was 40-48 or whatever. Well, that's 2 free throws, 40-42. Turnover, layup, 48-44. It's a 4-point ball game now. You hit a 3, it's 1 point, and And so, like, it's plays like that where it's if you just sit down and guard, because it was, if I'm remembering the play correctly, they shut down a baseline drive, they get the kick back out, they close down the perimeter shooter, they don't take the shot, they swing it back up top. You've already taken, it's a 30-second shot clock. That's probably already 10 or so seconds off the clock. So now if you just sit down and guard, which Flaugier did, so that's 4 more seconds off. They swing it. If you just sit down and guard, the clock is at like 12 seconds.
There's only so many things you can do.
Right. Like, just at that point, they're about to try to run a ball screen, guard it well. If they score off of it, they score off of it. Don't make a mistake on your own. They swing it back to the girl Flaugier's guarding. She gambles to try to steal it. It's caught, foul with, 6 or so seconds left on the shot clock. 2 free throws. They get to slow down a little bit, catch their breath, just all the way around. Like, that to me, when it happened, stood out to me because it's a mistake. When I'm coaching for Central, we've had those same mistakes. A play like that can really get you out of the rhythm, because then Flaugier doesn't agree with the foul call. She can get a little aggravated because we're all human. that can lead to a turnover or something on the other end, and those things can just kind of stockpile up when you make a mistake. So there are mistakes where you look at LSU and you're just you shouldn't really do that there. Like that the shot selection to me is LSU's biggest struggle, where especially in that fourth quarter when Texas was going on their run, you needed to slow down and do something, and instead LSU started taking the first shot they saw. Off balance didn't matter. It's an off balance mid-range shot. The first time they get going towards the rim and get a good look at it, the ball was going up at it, and it wasn't falling, obviously. And so that just stockpiles even more for Texas to keep their run going. What were you about to say?
I was going to say, that's when you have to look at, you would hope that coaching would make the adjustment there, where you're able to look at what you're doing offensively and be like, all right, if it's not falling, because that was a defensive struggle. The game was not pretty at any point, and LSU played great defense up until certainly in the first half.
When the offense started dying in the fourth quarter.
But that's where I think we were talking about it on the live stream yesterday. You look at the top, like your three best players, the amount of minutes that they're playing currently is almost unsustainable.
Right.
Like the more you get deeper into the season where they're playing 38 minutes a game, and how many are there in a
40?
Yeah, and that's not that's not me. I'm not exaggerating. They're
no,
playing
that's
38 minutes a game.
what it is.
And so when it gets down to it, like you have three girls with 4 fouls in the third quarter or 3 fouls in the third quarter, like kind of changes the way you have to play and how you have to operate, but not only offensively but defensively. Like on both sides of it, where y'all have to play.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't want to say it's unsustainable. You're just going to have somebody off. I think KG might be the answer to that, but you'll continue to have to watch and see what they want to figure out. But I do think that was almost a coaching misstep in terms of not being able to get some sort of set, some sort of slow it down.
Yeah, I agree. And to me, I think flex is an easy offense to just kind of set it up where you have. I'm just going to draw it here because
you did a great Noah's Ark.
You think so?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Noah's Ark.
Where it's so simple where it's just kind of set up like this where you have four out, one in. That's the build of the play, and it's literally the ball starts here, gets past here. That's where the ball is. This is a back screen to somebody cutting to score here. You set a down screen for this person to come up and catch it here. That's all it is.
So now do it so everybody can see what you're talking about.
It's a back screen from the dunker spot, the block, sets a back screen for this person from the corner to come all the way around. This is your first look for this person. Pass here, layup. That doesn't happen. They overplay it. This person is setting a down screen here. Player goes. It's the easiest play in basketball. It's the most class. Everybody runs flex. To me, you run something like that to at least you're not even really trying to score out of it. It's almost
just movement.
Just make the defense work. Like Denham Springs runs flex every time down the floor. They call it jacket because they're the Yellow Jackets. That's all they run. Freshman JV varsity. Jacket. Just
pervert.
Yeah, amen. Just flex every time down the floor, and it just gets the defense tired. Like they're not even trying to score out of it. Like it's just make the defense work. Like at the end of that game, when you realize that your players are out of whack, you're calling one of those timeouts to slow it down. Because the timeouts really, it didn't work. Like they were great timeouts, but they didn't have to, they still came back out of them in the same mindset, the same over-energized, kind of uncomfortable, almost reaching for something that wasn't there. You run something like flex, which is simple, the easiest thing in the world. It gets the defense working against themselves. So maybe, guess what? They'll be tired to make a mistake on offense. You can get one of those runouts and lay it in. Things like that where it's not just we're going to go one-on-one.
To you.
Right, because that's what's happening. Your one-on-one isn't working, and then Texas is going to go down. They're going to set something up for Madison Booker, who had 0 points in the first half, finishes with 18. And that's why you lose that game. And so I still think this is a very good basketball team. I think they will be better because of yesterday. And Lloyd said that yesterday, where he felt almost more comfortable with this team losing this game because it'll just kind of be like a get right. Like, okay.
It's not sustainable.
Right. You've kind of gotten away by the skin of your teeth in these last couple of games where you've done this same song and dance and won. Well, now you did it and it didn't work. Fix it. You know?
And that's from like top down.
100%. 100%. You know, and there has to be something that changes because right now against top 10 teams this year, you're 0-2. Well, in March, when you're trying to win a national championship, you're going to see some top 10 teams.
I would imagine.
And they're going to be playing as hard as they physically can, you know? So there's some things that I think need to be figured out, but this is still such a good basketball team, and I think they're definitely better than the Sweet 16. But it comes down to cleaning up some of these mistakes, fixing those little things that can be fixed, like not gambling. They're such a good defensive team, but then they get out of it when they start gambling, they start overdoing different things. Like I thought you got such a good game out of Samaya Smith yesterday, especially defensively, where she was rebounding well, she was blocking shots, she really played, you know, she stepped up to the plate against the size that we were talking about Texas having. Anissa played well.
Oh,
Flaugier played well. And, like they played a great game.
I'll tell you, this is the stat that we've been like
Right.
it bears fruit now because you're saying like the big three and how many minutes they have to play and you need somebody else to do it. Flaugier 16, Michaela 18, and Anissa Morrow 15. All finished with double figures for the Tigers. Morrow 20 rebounds.
Yep.
No other LSU player scored more than 3 points. Aside from your big three,
Yeah.
Texas bench outscored LSU 28-5. Like that's the
It's
game.
not the same, and that's what I talked about against after you lost to South Carolina, where South Carolina's bench dominated, and LSU, you know, against Tennessee, you saw KG step up and make plays. She played how many minutes last night? Can you pull that up?
I can find it. Give me 1 second.
Because I mean, I think Samaya, Anissa, Flaugier, and Michaela played 37 minutes all the way around. I think Samaya might have played 36. But those four played all your minutes. I'm pretty sure Poe was right there with 29. And I think Gilbert had something around 6.
I was about to say, I think Poa played 26 to 28 minutes, and Gilbert had maybe 5.
Right.
And that's somebody that's won you basketball games, and it happened literally the game before this.
When you need to find a rhythm, you know, she can kind of help with that offensively, especially if you're trying to get Flaugier or Michaela a breather, which they're going to need at some point. Gilbert is a great way to kind of calm the storm when they're getting that breather because she can go create offense. And so
Kaylin Gilbert played 5 minutes and 30 seconds, while Poa played 26 minutes and 4 seconds. Del Rosario played 1 minute.
Right. It's just
and then
anyway, in that
Smith,
1 minute she gave up an
minutes.
offensive rebound putback.
Yeah, she got lost in the sauce for a second.
To close out the quarter.
Samaya Smith joins the big four in terms of players over 35 minutes.
Yep.
Samaya Smith played 35 minutes and 40 seconds. Anissa Morrow, 36 minutes and 58 seconds. Flaugier, 37 minutes.
Right.
And 19 seconds.
And
Michaela, 36 minutes and 50. Like, that's the game.
And to me, the list of things, I'll just do 3 things for LSU.
Do it on the whiteboard.
We listed out on the whiteboard.
Yeah, people like Coach Noah.
I need a napkin. Throw me something to clean this bad boy off. I don't have to use my jacket. But there's 3 things for LSU to kind of right the ship somewhat. I would say 1 would be inputting some sort of offense, some sort of set outside of just a high ball screen, you know, and an ISO. 2 would be the substitutions. You absolutely have to substitutions. Gotta sound it out. My bad. Like
prostitution, but different.
You have to find a way to get some of these players out of the game, get those minutes down, and just kind of pick your spots a little bit better, you know? And then 3, you have to clean up the mistakes, the simple stuff, where it's not just, you know, whether it's gambling on defense, it's traveling on offense, it's illegal screens, it's not blocking out. Like the play at the end of the third where Aaliyah Del Rosario finally gets in the game, she gives up an offensive rebound putback. When you finally play good transition defense, you get back, they get a kick-out three, they don't make it, and then offensive rebound putback because ADR was just kind of standing there watching.
Ball watching.
And that's just – that can't happen. Like that's a point in the game where it's such a big moment because I'm now remembering what was happening before. Day Wilson gets a steal, breakaway layup, doesn't make it. If basketballs, because basketball will basketball. And the way it usually works is you miss one of those gimmies and you give a run out back the other way, they're going to hit that three when they get it. If they get an open three, they're going to hit it. They don't make it, but Del Rosario's kind of blocking out with the big girl from Texas. Doesn't clear her out, just kind of standing there watching it go in. The ball bounces this way off the rim, tip in 2 points, close out the third quarter. We're going to the fourth quarter 2 points closer than it should be. That's a 4-point swing in the matter of 10 seconds where Day Wilson misses the layup. My first thought process as a coach when I'm over kind of dissecting things is maybe don't go straight at the rim 1-on-2 with, the clock ticking down under the shot clock number, but it was an open layup. Take it. Whatever. You don't make it. That's okay. It doesn't always go in. At some point, you have to step up and be like, okay, let's close the door. And this was a good opportunity where you catch a break, they missed the open three. Like you caught a break and you didn't clear out. Like the three-pointer, and this is one thing about basketball, and this is going to be like a Rodman kind of take, where when you're, on the basketball court and a three is shot from this corner, so where this X is, if this is where the three-pointer is shot from, the rebound is going to happen right here. More times than not, it's going to happen on the opposite side.
Boom, bang.
Like, that's just how it works. Well, Del Rosario is standing right here against the big girl from Texas, who's kind of on this side. So they're just kind of sitting here in the middle. I don't have them.
Oh, no, I got you.
There we go. They're just kind of sitting here in the middle. This is Del Rosario right here. So she's not on the right side anyways. She's too close to the play. Well, if she just kind of does her job and clears her out of here and stays in front, if she clears out of the lane, she pushes her all the way out right here and then clears her right here. The ball's coming right here. So get the rebound. But instead, she stays on that side. It kind of bounces this way off the rim, right into her hands, tip in, 2 points. And that's a moment where it's a 4-point swing because you miss a layup on this end. Mm-hmm. You turn around, you give the offensive putback on that end when you caught a break. Like I don't know how many. Like I can't stress it enough that this 3-pointer being missed was a break. Like in basketball, that doesn't happen. The way basketball works is when the hits come, they keep coming. And instead of
it came with runs.
Right. Instead of a missed layup turned into a three, it's a missed layup into a missed three. Get the rebound, get out of here. Go to the fourth quarter. And it didn't happen. So, to me, those three things are how LSU can make a run at a national championship. If those three things can get kind of figured out, where you have some sort of offensive set to at least get the defense moving. It's not something that you need to score out of, but make the defense work and second guess, because they probably will make a mistake. Like we're talking about LSU baseball, where we're going to send runners to second to steal regardless of the count. Like we might not even really be trying to – we're going to put pressure on your defense every single time we're in the box, we're on the bases, we're going to apply pressure. That's what running a set is. Running flex or running some sort of set is to apply pressure to the defense where – one, they're having to work to get around screens, to jump things, to communicate, all these different aspects. Two, they're human and they'll probably screw up. They'll probably fall asleep and get back screened easy layup if the pass is there on time. They'll fall asleep on the down screen, open three, just something to get them moving and going. And it's an easy fix. And then after that, the substitution stuff. You cannot keep living and dying with those three playing 40 minutes. Yes, live and die by their performance. 100%, those are your 3 stars. You're going to live and die with their performance. That's true. But they shouldn't have to play the whole game. You have to have some sort of answer for that. And then after that, it's just these silly mistakes. And they're human. Those things are going to happen. But to me, if those 3 things get cleaned up, I think they had 19 turnovers. And you only, you're in that game. You cut that number down to 15, which is still a lot. Completely different ballgame. Those things can solve a lot and put LSU in a much better spot. So,
JD from his new Twitter.
From WFB9 Sports on
WFB9 Sports. In my opinion, it would have been LSU women's basketball biggest regular season win under Kim Mulkey. Texas is obviously a powerful opponent, but LSU is their own worst enemy so often with agonizing turnovers and silly mistakes. This game was there for the taking. He's not wrong, but it's still funny that he, the fan always comes out in JD.
Yes.
Whenever it's a big game.
Yes.
Which is why I appreciate him so much because he
he's the
likes
best.
LSU like I like LSU.
As long as he's been here covering this program, it's still right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has not been, turned into just a button pusher TV guy. Like he is still.
I can't be a fan.
That's why he's the
I
best.
have to be objective.
That's why he's the best in the business. And he's 100% right. This would have been the biggest win at Texas, and you weren't able to close it out. And to me, the South Carolina game, as much as you made some mistakes to put yourself in that spot, South Carolina beat you. Like they were better. They guarded you like crazy, and they were a deeper team. They won that game. And I'm not saying Texas didn't win this game because they made plays down the stretch. LSU, to me, beat themselves more than Texas beat them. Like LSU made mistake after mistake and did things to lose that game more than Texas kept doing things to win it. They made some shots at the end of that game where LSU was able to put themselves in a position to make something happen, and Texas went back down and made some shots, 100%. But the way they got there was by LSU beating themselves. So,
even with all that said, LSU played well enough to win.
Yep.
And you still.
And they're going to be in every game that they're in, regardless of the opponent. As good as the opponent will be, LSU will be in that basketball game because they are a good team. If they can iron out those 3 things, they're a top 4 team in the country, maybe even top 2. But if you don't iron those things out, Carl Dunn could be right about Sweet 16. Like, teams can catch up and sneak punch you, sneak attack you, and find ways to win against you if you're not able to do some of those things. If you keep creating mistakes and turning the ball over. If you keep playing your players, like if they're getting 40 minutes every game, like that's just like you can't expect them to sit down and guard. Like I get why Flau'jae goes to Gamble. She probably doesn't want to sit down and guard anymore because she's playing 40 minutes a game. Like those are the things that start happening where all of these problems can kind of start stacking on top of each other. They're all, as much as those are 3 separate things, they're all tied together.
Mm-hmm.
And so if LSU can straighten them out, it'll be much easier to win games as the season goes on.
1 or 2 more people to step up.
Yes. You need Gilbert.
It doesn't have to be every game, but it has to be somebody else off the bench.
Somebody else. And it seemed like
Norris Cole.
Right. Mulkey and LSU had kind of started to get more comfortable with the bench as of late, and then last night push came to shove back to 5. Found 5, stick with them. And it's going to be a tough way to win. But we're brought to you every day by Katie's Restaurant in New Orleans. All these fun sporting events. If you're not in Baton Rouge and able to make it to LSU baseball, LSU women's basketball, LSU men's basketball, who gets a win, all of these different things. God, the Johnnies won last night. I knew it. I knew St. John's was going to win.
That's brutal.
Gosh.
He had a parlay.
Yep. LSU women's basketball wins, St. John's wins. I'm high on St. John's and men's basketball. So if y'all want to take that advice, do with it what you please. St. John's and Rick Pitino.
I know Rick Pitino would do with it what he pleases.
100%. But if you want to watch the Johnnies, it'll probably be on TV at Katie's as well. Katie's has the game on. They've got cold beer, great service, all of it. Katie's in Mid-City. And also make sure to check out their sister restaurant, Francesca's. Go see them today. Enjoy the food. Christian loves it. He is a walking advertisement of Katie's as he visited it on his way to Algiers. Christian, go ahead and tell us what you ordered at Katie's.
I got the Cajun pasta.
And how was it, Christian?
It's phenomenal.
You loved it?
And we got an artichoke.
Spinach and artichoke dip?
No. It was an artichoke appetizer. It was fire.
It was good.
Just
It was good.
artichoke?
I don't remember
that's
exactly
like what
it
adults
was.
eat.
It was artichoke.
This is a
and
grown
you-
man right here.
That's
and
true.
you dip it. I love artichoke. It's very good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Katie's was
you do know the art
fantastic.
of the
Yes.
choke, so it's not surprising.
I knew he was cooking something
Art
up over
of
there.
the choke. I see what you're saying, but when have I choked?
I don't know what you do on the weekend.
We'll be right back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show. Hour number 2 will be started right after this.
Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
48 Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at 48agency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health, get in touch with 48 Insurance Agency, 48agency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. 48 Agency.
Get Gordon. And get it done. Yeah, everybody know Gordon in a 225. He done link with Big Four. He got buku ties, Ferrari sliding, flying in a new coupe ride. And every time I ride by, I see a brand new sign. I'm with Gordon. I know that he gon' get it done. Whether it's a big truck crash or a hit and run, recovery funds, he fighting to get a ton. Mike Epps, man, we all about the Benjamin. Handling injuries, man, are you kidding me? Gordon McKernan, that's champion energy. Yeah, family man with a family plan. Get Gordon, he gon' fix it like a handyman. Get Gordon. And get it done.
Welcome to Trifecta.
Trifecta Sports Therapy in Baton Rouge. Recover, repair, restore. At Trifecta, they believe in total body wellness. Trifecta gets the body back to its full potential. Whether you're a youth or pro athlete, a pre or postnatal mom, or if you lead an active lifestyle or a senior citizen, Trifecta has the class, the sports massage, the sports therapist, the stretch therapist, or the equipment like infrared sauna, cold plunges, and golf simulators to find your best. Find Trifecta online at trifectasportstherapy.com or check out the beautiful facility today, 8221 Goodwood. Trifecta Sports Therapy.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
You ever seen a living legend, just know that I'm it. Slow grind like IT, just know that I'm it. Now I'm back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the bat like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gon' sit. Had to be patient, so I waited for the situation. Now that I'm focused, I'ma take it with no hesitation. The hard times that I hated gave me inspiration. Look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
The whale just swallowed the guy. Came up out the water, swallowed this guy. Like he's gone. He's in the whale's mouth, and then spits him right out. Imagine if that camera's not on and you're that guy and you go home and be like, guys, you're not going to believe this. I just got swallowed by a whale and spit back out. They're going to be like, shut up. And they'll be like Christian walking in here and being like, guys, I just got swallowed by a whale and spit back out. We'd probably jump him as soon as he walked through the door for saying something so stupid. But then there's video proof. Like, it actually happened. The cameras were on. They caught this guy in 4K getting swallowed by a whale and spit out. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But now we're going to get started with did the whale have morning breath? We're going to get started with Kim Mulkey's press conference. We're going to keep the talk on LSU women's basketball going. Kim met with the press after the game last night, obviously. And we're going to get started with just Kim talking about the end of that game and kind of how they got to the point where they did in their loss against Texas.
Offensively. Well, I probably should have substituted more of my perimeter players throughout the game, and I didn't. So that's on me. When we went to South Carolina and we've come to Texas, good ball games. We were in ball games, had opportunities to, possibly steal a victory, and we just didn't get it done. And so you kind of evaluate, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, you have to execute and be extremely tough when it requires the toughness of you. We had how many inbounds plays that we got violations on? Well, if you're the point guard throwing it in your head, you got to know the 5-second count. Call a timeout. Execute a play when you leave a timeout and go do it. So I think that was probably the difference in the game is just the toughness and the ability to execute when it got to be crunch time. I thought the beginning of the third quarter, they came right at us quickly to cut the lead, and it worked. And I had to use a timeout.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with Kim. Obviously, I mean, she brought up the substitution aspect, and that's something that they recognize, which is awesome to hear because it's obviously something that has to change. And I think last night just kind of proved it to you even more. And on top of that, talking about some of the mistakes that they made, those 5-second violations. I'm not opposed to taking the 5-second. I'm one that a dead ball turnover is much different than a live ball turnover, like trying to force it in there or burning one of your timeouts. It did happen twice. And so I think the second time it would have been okay to call a timeout. But, just having something drawn up, like it just needs to be executed. And when I brought up flex earlier, like to me, I don't think that they don't know flex. They obviously know flex. And I'm not saying that they don't have things like that they run. It's just when you look at the end of that game, it didn't seem like there was anything happening outside of a high ball screen and ISO, except when they came out of timeouts. They did run some sort of set when they came out of a timeout. They didn't execute it to perfection like she just kind of talked about in the presser. So it's in no way, saying that they don't have things like flex put in. Like I guarantee you they all know flex. It's the most common play in basketball.
There's no way Kim Mulkey has been coaching for as long as she has.
Right.
Doesn't know that
yes.
is a thing.
And it's not saying that that's going to be the solution to all problems. That's what they need to do. It was more of just an example of this is something that could help. Like
you have to do something.
If you run some sort of set, like these things that you're calling out of the timeouts, why not call those when you're setting half-court offense regardless? Like it doesn't just have to be after a timeout. Like just make something happen. And so those things 100%, the three things that I brought up, kind of what she just addressed in that press conference, those are things that are going to help LSU get to the next level. And so here's Kim talking about the SEC, the level of competition, and then going into March Madness and the things that come with that.
Wow, it's just a lot of tough teams, and I would think that we're probably all a little grateful when the SEC season is over, because you may think the NCAA playoffs is you can kind of breathe a little, but it's tough in this league.
Yeah, I mean way
I just don't think after that game you're going to get a lot from Kim.
No, and I think that first clip was really the best you were going to get, where she was kind of looking back and reviewing everything that happened. But I mean, it's like we've talked about in every sports league. I mean, the SEC is the premier conference in baseball, softball, gymnastics, football, men's basketball, women's basketball. Like it just goes on and on. Like that's what the SEC is, and LSU is in the mix to be competitive in all of them. And I don't think she's incorrect in thinking that there's going to be a little bit of a breather in these, first round, second round March Madness games.
Are you concerned with where they get seated as long as they make the tournament? Because I don't think that you'd like to be, what is it, a first, like a top seed gets to host the first two
yes.
games.
Yeah, and I'm not, I think they'll be in that realm. To me, the biggest thing to look at in the seeding is if they're going to be a 2 seed, who's the 1 seed? Because if it's a Texas or UCLA or, I don't know if South Carolina will be in the mix for a 1 seed really after yesterday.
Well, that's why the loss kind of stinks a little bit, because you had an
You could have
opportunity
jumped
to win
in.
the SEC
Right.
and be a 1 seed.
100%. Because to me, if you get matched up in, I think they're projected to be in UCLA's bracket. UCLA has a major mismatch for LSU in bets. Their big center that's been just dominant, like dominated against South Carolina, and has continued to dominate the rest of the season on. And so that's a matchup where I'm looking at like, okay, well we're going to make it through this stretch, and when we get to the Final Four, not the Final Four, the Elite Eight, who's our matchup? Well, we played UCLA last year. LSU played UCLA last year and was able to get the win, because they had some size to combat. The size isn't nearly as much of a strength for LSU with Angel Reese no longer on the roster. She did add somewhat of a physicality and a size kind of evening against UCLA. Now, the size really wasn't the problem yesterday against Texas, which was my one thing going into the game, was they have the size mismatch, and that could be a problem for LSU, and it ended up not being that. But not wanting to run into them, UConn's going to jump into that 1 seed discussion. That's a team that, you don't particularly want to get matched up with. Now, I'm not too worried about LSU's matchup with UConn. I think they match up with them well, just in the way that teams are constructed and the coaching. But UConn's a deep team, and they're very skilled, obviously. I mean, they dominated South Carolina yesterday. So if that's the way they're going to keep playing, you don't really want to get matched up with them. So when it comes down to it, my thought process when I'm looking at the seeding is which side of the bracket are we on and who's the number 1 seed on LSU's side. It's not, okay, are we a 1 seed? Do we get to play at home? I'm not worried about any of that. It's more of who's the 1 seed that we're going to get matched up, that LSU's going to get matched up with in the Elite Eight to make that jump to the Final Four.
Because, you have to, go back to 2023 to be Iowa took down South Carolina, so you never have to see them again. If you're in a different spot on that bracket, that's where your season is faced up against South Carolina again. After you played them in the regular season, played them in the SEC tournament, then you play them in the NCAA tournament. At some point, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, it's going to be a tough matchup to beat a team like that. And for Iowa to be able to, I guess it was an upset in people's minds that they beat South Carolina, but Caitlin Clark was kind of a game changer.
Yes, 100%. And that year, and that season, LSU's seeding was, let me see, I can't find what seed they were. They were a 3 seed.
3 seed.
And they were on the side of the bracket with Indiana and Utah, and they beat Utah in a tight matchup.
They shouldn't have won that game.
No, where it just came down to the end. LSU was able to win it,
they
pull
missed
that one
a
off,
free throw,
and
an airballed a free throw.
Yes. And Indiana got upset in the round of 32 by Miami, who went on a run all the way to LSU. Shouldn't have made it that far. Things have to fall in line for it to work out. That's
the tournament.
Regardless of how good your team is, it has to fall in line. So it really depends on what side of the brackets LSU's on and who the 1 seed is that I'm looking at. But they have some things that they need to straighten out. And you heard Kim in that first clip kind of talk about it. She addressed substitutions, she addressed mistakes, and she even talked about a set play that they didn't execute. And so it's things like that where if those 3 things can kind of get solved, like she said, it's a different ball game. And you're able to go into Austin and get a marquee win against a very good Texas team that you weren't, selected to win. Me and Lou were talking about before the game, LSU was 10.5-point dogs. It's
shocking.
It ended up being, a 7-point loss. But at that, before the game, 10.5-point dogs.
They have. So projections are out for the the top seeds of the women's college basketball NCAA tournament. Gamecocks 23-2 sit behind number 1 UCLA in the overall rankings, but would still be a 1 seed in the Birmingham 2 regional. In that projected bracket, USC would be in the same region with 2 seed NC State, 3 seed TCU, and 4 seed Oklahoma. LSU projects to be in the UCLA bracket in Spokane number 1. UCLA 1 seed, LSU a 2 seed, Duke and Tennessee. Fill it out.
Yep. So LSU would get matched up with Duke. They would have to beat Duke in the Sweet 16. You know, if both teams make it through the other 2 rounds, that would be the matchup. And really, there are a handful of teams, if I'm LSU, that I would be worried about. Just when it comes to sheer talent. Like, yes, the thing, you need to do things right. There are teams that can match up with you well. But there's only so many teams that are as talented as LSU. You know, like a Texas, a South Carolina, a UConn, a USC, a UCLA. I would say those 5, LSU's in, like that. That's the mix LSU's in. Those are the 6 teams, you know. Order them up however you want. Those are the 6. Now, can you cause mistakes and get, you know, snuck up on by a Duke or by a Tennessee, obviously, by a Kentucky? Yes, 100%. But those teams to me are the ones where it's just like, okay, let's evaluate, let's figure out the matchups, find a way to win. So that's just to me kind of where LSU sits right now. But you've got to close out the season strong. I don't know what their schedule remaining kind of looks like. I'll pull that up here. They still have, after the loss to Texas yesterday, they head back home. This Thursday they face Georgia, and then they go to Kentucky to face number 8 Kentucky Sunday, February 23rd. So that's another big-time matchup. I mean, that's a top 10 game at Kentucky. Number 5 versus number 8. Kentucky's a good team. Georgia Amore, the transfer from Virginia Tech, came over with her former head coach, who's now the coach of Kentucky.
Georgia Amore.
And they're a good basketball team. And then you turn around, you have another ranked matchup.
When she shoots a 3 in your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Amore.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
That was excellent. We might have to do a watch party just so you can sing that every time a 3 goes in. But after that ranked matchup against Kentucky, yep, didn't happen. After that ranked matchup with Kentucky on Sunday, next Thursday, February 27th, LSU at Alabama, Hunter Hall in Tuscaloosa. Another ranked matchup, number 5 versus number 21. Then you get Ole Miss at home March 2nd to close it out. So these are 4 games, and 2 of them against ranked SEC opponents on the road. Those are 2 really good tests for LSU. Would be nice to see them close it out, obviously 4-0, but especially those 2 ranked games on the road, because that's been hard to come by. I mean, you beat Tennessee on the road one time, but since then you lost to South Carolina on the road, Texas on the road. A ranked road victory has come for LSU a singular time this season, and so to be able to find a way to get that done 2 times in the last 4 games would be very nice heading into the tournament. Noah, get pissed about something and rant. We need a rant. There's nothing to really get mad about right now.
No.
It wasn't as now. If it would have been ugly yesterday, it would have been different. But there's no need for a rant. But every day we're brought to you by Barker's Brothers Plumbing and Works. You know what's about to happen now.
No, it can't be though.
The segment doesn't really fit. But this is how we get into it every time. 225-776-2431. Call Barker's Brothers. Mention the Culotta Show for 15% off. Get your toilet fixed. If it's clogged up, plumbing issues, call them. No website, no social media. Only that number, 225-776-2431. We will have Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. And now we're going to talk about something not so crappy. LSU men's basketball.
Shocking.
With a big victory against Oklahoma Saturday night. It was quite the game. It was back and forth. The first half was kind of a dogfight, and LSU was able to kind of ride the shooting of Jai Bailey all the way to the end of the first half, where it wasn't particularly their best start. But Jai Bailey made shots when they needed to be made. He hit 3 threes, I think, if I'm correct, and in that first half, and was able to keep LSU kind of in the mix. They were down by 6 at the end of the first half. But like me and Lloyd have said, the first half has never really been the problem. Like,
I mean, I've been kind of having the take so far of like, first of all, if I was on the LSU basketball team, in terms of like, I thought they were going to be better than in which they were, and then you started to see this kind of fall off from once you entered SEC play, and it wasn't because they weren't competitive, it was just that they ran out of like, almost it felt like they ran out of juice in the second half,
right?
And so to be able to see them stick around in a basketball game isn't surprising, but to see them be able to take over a basketball game and win is surprising at this point.
Yes. I mean, they were down by 6 heading into the half, and I even put it out on Twitter, like, yeah, they were able to stay in it. You know, it could have been closer. I think Curtis Givens missed 3 free throws when he got fouled on a three-pointer to really cut into the lead before the half. But LSU's been able to hang in, like Lloyd said, hang in every first half. They're in it at halftime. It's that second set of 20 minutes that's caused LSU problems, where they've just, all the games have gotten away from them. And it really did seem like it was going to be similar to that as I was watching it on Saturday, where I was like, oh no, this is going to be the same old song and dance. You know, it was 29-36 or 29-35 at the half. Oklahoma gets started with an and one to make it a 9-point game. LSU responds, but then Oklahoma comes down and they make a jump shot, 31-40. Turnover by Damian Collins turns into a layup for Oklahoma. Now it's 42-31, and then next time down, they make 2 free throws. It's a 13-point ball game. At that point, the 16-22 mark in the second half, I was like, oh no. Like, here we go again. They're down by 6 at the half. Now they've let Oklahoma go on a 7-point swing where they're up by 13 in the first 4 minutes of this quarter. Now, Damian Collins comes down, makes a nice jumper, assisted by Jai Bailey. Damian Collins kind of kept you in it at this point, cuts it back to 11, and then Oklahoma gets another nice little layup to go back up, but a huge shot from Victorious Miller to cut it to 10, and then you see Damian Collins make a layup. Damian Collins really, like I said, kept you in it at this point. He made the layup. It was an and one, gets the free throw to fall as well, and they just kind of stay in the mix. And they get it back to a 44-50 game after a made 3 by Damian Collins. And from then on out, LSU is in it. You know, it's 46-50 after Damian makes another jump shot. Oklahoma kind of started to stretch away, but this is where the Cam Carter show started. Now, Damian Collins finished with 22.
He went Tracy McGrady.
100%. Damian Collins kept you in. He scored 22, his career high. He
with a
kind of
dislocated shoulder.
Yes, he weathered that storm. So to me, that was the way the game played out, where Oklahoma was about to do what every other SEC team has done to LSU, where they just kind of come in waves in that second half and just dominate LSU and get them away from it. Well, Damian Collins weathered that storm, got them through it, and then a man named Cam Carter just kind of went to work from there. I mean, he finished with 29 points, 27 points. Damian had 22, Cam had 29. He had 4 points in the first half. So he scored 25 points in the second half. He scored 7 points in the last 20 seconds of the basketball game, where he just went really almost ballistic. Like in the second half, his numbers were, or he had 5 in the first half, sorry. He had 24 in the second half, 8 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line. He had a block and a defensive rebound. I mean, just do your job, young man.
What is wild to me is LSU trailed by 6 at the half, obviously, but they shot 60% in the second half, 16 of 27, and made 53% of their three-pointers, 7 of 13 in the final 20 minutes.
Yep.
For the game, they shot 48%, 11 total three-pointers, and you had to do all of that to come back. Like,
yeah,
that's
you
as
needed
good as
it.
you can play offensively in the second half, and you're surprised that you won.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean,
but it doesn't bode well for the future of.
No,
this
not
season.
at all.
If you need that type of run, and we said this yesterday during the watch party, whenever we were talking about just LSU basketball getting a win. If Cam Carter doesn't go Cam Carter every time, they're not going to be very competitive in these games in the second half. Like it's become the recipe.
Yeah, I mean, when they beat Arkansas earlier in SEC play, he had 27, and then obviously Saturday night he has 29. That's 28 points per win. And so that means when
you're
he's
only
not
2 SEC wins.
When he's not scoring 27 or 29, you're not winning the game. And so the recipe is out. I'm surprised Oklahoma really let him score the way he did. But a lot to me was because of Damian Collins, the way he performed at the start of that second half, where he just kind of kept you in it. But Cam Carter had a made layup to cut it to 67-69. He makes the free throw. That was an and one. Another layup by Oklahoma the way down. And then at the, you see a big Mike Williams three-pointer to cut it 72-73. But then you just see Cam Carter kind of go off from there. He made a big 3 and 1 3. Then he makes an and 1 layup to win it at the end. So just obviously to me, I'm excited about this win because
no Corey
of
Chest.
Nothing that has to do with this season. My excitement does not have anything to do with success this season. Because to me that's over. Like my younger brother Max asked me yesterday, is there any chance LSU makes the NCAA tournament? I was like, I mean, if they just went ballistic
they'd have to win
and
the
go
SEC,
on a run and they win the rest of their SEC games, they win the tournament, all these things, yeah, they'd get in.
Well, they'd have if you win the SEC tournament, you get an automatic bid.
But even if they don't win the tournament, I think if they win the rest of these games and they go into the tournament and they lose in the championship game, they might even sneak in then because the 14 of the 16 SEC teams are getting in. Maybe you can find your way to sneak up. But it has nothing. My excitement doesn't come from that. It was Matt McMahon. One, he needed this win just to kind of calm the storm. Mm-hmm. But two, the resilience that I saw to weather that storm when you end up down 13 and push back, to continue to push the envelope every single time down when Oklahoma kept responding to your run, and LSU kept doing it. They kept going back and forth and rolling and rolling and rolling. And to me, that's a good sign because Matt McMahon's not going to get fired. Like he will be the LSU coach next season. They're not going to pay an $8 million buyout and then buy out whatever coach they're getting from somewhere else and then pay his new contract. They're not going to pay all that money when you're trying to build a football roster every year in and out, all these things. They're not going to spend all that money on a head basketball coach. So he's going to be here next season. This was a win for him because you saw that he can still have a team buy in and push the envelope
and that was my biggest
and try to win.
It felt like that it was kind of lost at sea.
100%.
Where they were competitive, but you didn't have the buy-in and the want to and have to be able to compete in the second half because it was Cam Carter or nothing, and to have somebody else step up, like that helps.
100%.
Especially with like the way that they shot it, though. That's what's concerning to me is you shoot it at almost like a 60% clip, and you were very much capable of losing that basketball game.
Right.
That's what's concerning, but they're just not there yet. But
because to me that comes down to the talent. I just don't think they have the horses, and that's obviously a knock on McMahon because that's his job to get them the roster.
You had no Corey Chest. You had no obviously.
Right. No Jalen Reed.
No Jalen Reed.
Yep.
And so
no Tyrell Ward.
They ended the game with 5 guards on the court.
Yep. And they started the game small ball. Like their starting 5 was Victorious, Cam, Jai, Jordan Sears, Damian Collins. They had one big. They had 4 guards, 1 big. And so that could be a method for success here on out. But to me, it doesn't matter if if it's a win or a loss. It's about how it looks. Like if LSU goes and plays that way and they don't get the steal at the end that ends up in the Cam Carter layup to give them the lead, I'm not upset.
Yeah, you could.
I'm fine. I would be fine with the loss. I saw the team buy into McMahon's message and play for him and do all the things that you need the coach to do while he's instilling a culture. You know,
you could substitute that one for, what is it, Ole Miss that beat you at the buzzer, where it's like you were there at the end of the game where you should have won. You take one for the other.
Right, and so I was glad to see the mindset that I saw, the resilience, they weren't the LSU Tigers, they were the LSU Fighting Tigers on Saturday. Like, it wasn't like they were just there. They were resilient. They pushed back. They answered the call every time they needed, and they competed and found a way to win. Like that. That counts for something. As much as it's not going to get you into the tournament, it's not going to put a ring on your finger, it's not going to cut down the net, you found a way to win, which is a step in the right direction. You needed a win.
Well, you're at the point of the year before the game where, like, people don't know when you play.
Right.
Because I didn't even know they played.
Yep, and there was some excitement on social media for the win, like watching it and things like that. It was a good win to have. It was good for the temperature of the program. Now, Hunter Hall makes a good point, where 5 of LSU's last 6 are top 20 teams, and 3 of the 6 are against top 10 teams. That's the league.
Yeah.
And so
the league is 500.
Right. Yep. As we continue to be reminded, the league's only at 500. Like, it's not that dominant of a league.
No, 90 and 90 probably.
Yeah. And so
anybody can beat anybody.
Almost like one team has to win, one team has to lose, but I want that to continue to be said on air because it's hilarious content. But that's just the SEC. Like, 5 of the last 6 top 23, the last 6 top 10. That's just the conference. And that's what you're going to live with if you're in the SEC.
And I think that's part of the conversation around McMahon is like the league's not going anywhere. Like,
right, at all.
You're now in a conference where it is premier basketball all the time. It's like, if you're not doing anything to be competitive, what are you doing? Because you can see the turnarounds from, what is it, Vanderbilt?
Yes.
And there's another team in the conference too.
Missouri.
It has a new, 2 new hires that are able to, in their first year, get you competitive. And it feels like, for some, McMahon's getting a longer leash that, like, oh, if you can do it there, why can't you do it here?
Right.
And that's what starts the conversation in my mind of what's
the reason it's working at Vanderbilt is because they have financial backing.
Well, they're not good at anything.
Right, and they have the money to be able to.
That's what I'm saying. They're
not
not allocating the funds.
Right.
Vanderbilt football, I don't think anybody.
Baseball has their method that they've been using for decades.
Years, but they're like the Tim Corbin method. Like,
yeah, it's dying.
Right.
And so to me, it's just where, if you're LSU, you need to compete in the league for this as the season closes out. 5 of 6 against top 20, 3 of 6 against top 10. Your next game's against South Carolina, who's worse in the conference than you are. Win that game, obviously, because you need to. And then be competitive in those games. Show you can compete in the league. Get the financial backing this offseason. Build your roster the way it needs to be built. And it's a completely different season next year. Retain your players. Get Power 4 guys, SEC guys out of the portal.
Build some momentum.
Right. And so find a way to – you need to beat South Carolina. Win one more game out of that. I'm not asking much. Win another game. Maybe win a tournament game. Compete in all of them. Like, make it close and not a blowout, 30 points or a sell at the end of the game, giving up a 13-0 run. Don't allow things like that to happen. Find some momentum. Build the roster this offseason. He's the coach next year, so that's what's going to happen.
Build it.
So that's the way it works.
Because it does give you some sense of buy-in. I guess back to, like, will people be interested a little bit more? But I thought if there was a real for a pro-Fire McMahon crowd, if he would have lost and then lost to South Carolina, I think there would have been a conversation of, you're the worst team in the fucking league.
Yep. No, there would have been a conversation. I think the money.
I don't think they were going to fire him either, but it would have been more apathy and more of like,
yes,
you're the worst team in the league.
Yes.
At LSU, after you just last time I looked up, LSU was in the Sweet 16.
Yep. But
not where you are.
That buyout, man. That's the
sure.
thing. But no, I agree. There would have been a conversation. And I don't know who you go hire, but it was good to see them win against a quality opponent. Oklahoma was, I think, undefeated going into SEC play Out of conference, they were 13-0. You know, they were one of the top-ranked team. They were a top 15 team going into SEC play. Now they're 3-9 in league play. You know, that shows you how competitive this league is. And so it's going to be a strong last month for McMahon. Obviously, for Mulkey, needs to get some things straightened out to finish this month out strong. But to get back on a positive note, LSU baseball tomorrow night, Wednesday night, big time stuff. Lloyd said it had a stat pulled up while we were in the break.
I whiteboarded it.
Did I whiteboard it? No, it's gone.
No, it's gone.
But what were the numbers, Lloyd? Comparing last season's opener to this season.
7 and 22, 45 and 2.
So last season, 2024, opening weekend, 37 strikeouts and 22 walks. Not anything to write home about. You know, not very pretty. 2025, fast forward to this season, 45 strikeouts, 2 walks. So not only did the strikeout number go up 8 as a staff, the walk number dropped 20. Something is cooking, Coach, and it smells delightful.
Well, I think some of the benefit is I feel like you've gotten better talent-wise and you're a little bit deeper. But it doesn't matter the quality of the opponent you're playing when it comes to, like, walks. That's either you're throwing strikes or you're not.
Right,
like, if you got hit around against a bad Fort Wayne team or if you put them on base, that's just because you're not throwing strikes. For them to be able to only walk 2 people through a 3-game set is unbelievable because you're making them earn everything they're trying to get.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows where, okay, that team went to a regional in North Carolina and was an out away from hosting a super.
Mm-hmm.
That should make you feel very confident about where this baseball team can be when it comes to playoff baseball.
Yes. No, I mean, I was feeling all the right things this weekend watching LSU baseball. It was a good weekend, and it'll be fun to watch them tomorrow night and Wednesday night, setting it up for this weekend. You're about to have LSU baseball. What we had it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? You get Monday off, then you get Tuesday, Wednesday, then you get Thursday off, and then you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. I mean, that's just, you can't beat it. You cannot beat it.
And if you're wondering if this is just a 1-year stint, Kason Evans, Maverick Rizzi, William Spitt, Cooper Williams, all freshmen. 6 2/3 pitched, 1 hit, 0 runs, 0 walks, 13 Ks. Those are all children.
That'll play, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, they're elite,
That
man.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, Kason Evans rolling it up at 99. You have Maverick Rizzi rolling it up at 99. And William Spitt was probably the most talented of the bunch when you watch it play.
Yes.
Like, I understand that he was going to be, I know who he is and I know what it does, but for him to come out in that stage
and show it,
and it just looked dominant.
Yeah. No, I mean,
he ain't going to be doing much midweek.
It's unbelievable. It's really going to be special to watch them this season. So make sure you're ready. We'll set you up for tomorrow night's matchup against Southern tomorrow morning, 7 to 9. We'll have some more to talk about. So we appreciate you guys this morning. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the Jordy Culotta Show.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Family calls family. That saying resonates even more as your family grows. And we can't seem to stop growing. Meet the newest member of the Get Gordon family, Penny's cousin Rosie. Rosie already knows, the larger your family, the more people you have to lift you up during trying times. Just like at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, we've grown to over 200 team members with over 50 local attorneys. So whether you pick Penny, employ Ellie, roll with Rosie, or get Gordon, we want to be your lawyers for life.
Your lawyers for life.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
It's rare to find someone you can count on when it's go time. It's even more rare to find someone you can count on, well, all the time. At Sunshine, we're proud to offer the John Deere equipment you need and a team you can depend on and off the field. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
But we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I